137 days on the Appalachian Trail. Imagine waking up one morning, packing your gear, and setting off on a journey that would change your life forever. That's exactly what happened to me on August 16th, when I woke up at 5:30 a.m., packed my tent for the last time, and began the final ascent of Mount Katahdin, the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail. Over the past 4 months, I experienced a roller coaster of emotions, memories that will stay with me for a lifetime. From the first day to the midpoint, to the moments shared with strangers in tiny towns, to battling through storms, to the tough days, and finally to the last day. In the 2.5 weeks leading up to Katahdin, I felt mentally drained. The desire to finish was overwhelming. Each step required every ounce of strength I had left. Fortunately, I had a robust support system, both on and off the trail, reminding me of my capabilities. Leaving New Hampshire was particularly challenging. For so long, reaching New England had been my primary goal. Once I arrived, the prospect of going home was emotionally taxing. But here's where it gets interesting. I decided to spend my final weeks pushing ahead of the group I had been walking with. On the Appalachian Trail, it's nearly impossible to avoid others at night. But I began making decisions based solely on my needs. Despite this, I still encountered some amazing individuals toward the end, some of whom I hadn't seen in days. Meeting new people so late in the trip provided a fresh perspective and shaped those final moments in a meaningful way. As the weeks turned into days, I could sense the end was near, and it's still hard to put into words how it felt. I believe only fellow hikers can truly understand that peculiar mix of emotions. The pride in accomplishing such a feat, the sadness of returning to real life, the joy of sleeping in a bed again, and the lingering question, did I really do this? I found myself reflecting more and more on why I embarked on this journey. What did I gain from it? Initially, I thought I had clear answers. In many ways, those reasons held true. This trip was always a gift to myself, something deeply personal. However, it ended up meaning even more than I anticipated. A fellow hiker once asked me, "What do you want to get out of this?" It wasn't just about why I was doing it, but what I hoped to gain. Sometimes this question frustrated me because I didn't always have a definitive answer. But when I arrived in Maine, it finally clicked. For me, the answer was peace. I wanted to test my mental and physical limits. I wanted to see if I could endure even a fraction of what my mother faced during her 14-year battle with cancer. I wanted to experience the outdoors in a way that most people never do. Above all, I just wanted to be happy. And I found all of that and more. I feel more attuned to my body. I understand what my mind needs to keep moving forward, and I could write for hours about the deeper meaning of this journey. But I'll save that for a future update after I've had more time to reflect. For now, I know those last 2 weeks in Maine were transformative. That part of Maine was entirely new to me, and it was exhilarating to explore uncharted territory even at the end of my journey. As I approached Monson, I was ready for the final stretch. People kept advising me to slow down and savor the experience. While it sounded great in theory, they didn't understand my mental state. Deep down, I knew they were right. I tried to slow down, but the perfect weather and trail conditions made it hard to resist. I ended up finishing a day earlier than planned. And this is the part most people miss. On August 16th, at 5:30 a.m., I woke up for the last time on the Appalachian Trail. I tacked my gear and began the final ascent. The climb was everything I loved about hiking: technical rock, breathtaking views, and the indescribable feeling of reaching the summit. When I got to the top, there weren't many people around. A day hiker joked, "I hope this is the right place," and that simple comment brought tears to my eyes. Another hiker and I looked at each other and laughed. "You have no idea." We took our summit photos, but none of them could fully capture the feeling. We stayed there for hours, reluctant to leave, not ready to let it go. The sun was warm, the views stretched endlessly, and the wind was gentle. It felt as though the trail itself was giving us a farewell. We talked about life, both on and off the trail, discussing what it all meant, what might come next, and how surreal it was to have reached the end. It felt like a dream we had all been walking for months, which only now became real. Around noon, I started the descent, which was much more challenging than the ascent. When I reached the bottom, a wave of relief washed over me. The realization that I had accomplished something I never thought possible hadn't fully sunk in, and I'm not sure when it will. I had just done something extraordinary. My partner Ian picked me up, and we celebrated with drinks and a lot of pizza, joined by my dad. Now, a week later, I find myself writing this from my dad's place in coastal Maine. I'm taking the time to rest and enjoy, and for the first time in months, I won't be moving. I'm learning to rest without guilt, to be still without feeling like I'm falling behind. I'm also thinking about what I'll carry with me into my post-trail life. I know I will never be the same person who took those first steps months ago. The trail gave me something intangible, something I feel in every breath, in every part of my body, and in the way I now see the world. I plan to write again in a month with an update after I've had more time to process everything. But for now, this marks the end of my Appalachian Trail journey. I am eternally grateful for every mile, every moment, every person, and every version of myself that emerged on the trail. The final photo.